Hey guys, this is the WalterFootball.com After Dark show for September 16, 2023. I thought I'd get into the Saturday notes for the Week 2 NFL picks. This is all on the website, but for people who can't access it for whatever reason, thought I'd review it and talk about some player props. I also posted, and also an update on the teaser that we discussed on Tuesday. But the teaser that we had on Tuesday is no longer legit because I think one of the sides is now a favorite instead of an underdog. So to think of something else. So I'll tell you what I'm doing with that. But yeah, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that will mean a lot to us if you want to help support the show. And if you want to post any questions or anything, it doesn't have to be about the picks. I'll find it eventually and I'll answer it. So let's get started with the Chargers and Titans game. This line actually dropped to 2.5. I think because of news on the Chargers. So Joey Bosa may be out, and that's obviously a huge deal. Austin Eckler is also out. So their top playmaker out of the backfield. So the Chargers are missing some personnel, but the Titans are too. Like the Titans are going to be missing Peter Skoronski. They're going to be missing two starters in the defensive backfield. So I don't know if that's like warranted, like the line movement. The Sharps are on the Titans. So if you want to follow the Sharps, I would recommend backing the Titans, but I'm not like that's only a small piece of the pie, I think. I still think I would go with the Chargers just because I think they have a big advantage with their pass rush against Tennessee's offensive line, especially if the line's 2.5. Now, if Joey Bosa's out, then I'm not going to be on the Chargers at all. In fact, I would consider backing the Titans. But as long as Joey Bosa's playing, I have interest in the Chargers a little bit. Hey, Cinder. So let's get to the next game. Currently not betting this game. Oh, by the way, I bet Ryan Tannehill underpassing attempts 30.5 minus 105 at bet MGM. So if the Sharps are right about this and the Titans have the lead and they're just pounding the ball with Derrick Henry, like I don't think Tannehill is going to throw a lot. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Packers at the Falcons. So it sounds like Aaron Jones is going to be out. The Packers promoted a running back from the practice squad to the active roster. So the Packers may not have Aaron Jones or Christian Watson, so that's all the explosion they have on their offense. And I think Atlanta's a better team regardless. Like if you go position by position, except for quarterback and linebacker, I think you can make the case that Atlanta is equal or better in every group. And yet they're only minus 1.5. Now they open as home underdogs. This is one of the games I talked about with the teaser where you can't really tease Atlanta anymore. But I think the line movement's warranted. There's a lot of sharp money coming on in Atlanta, and for good reason. I think the Falcons are the better team. I think they're so underrated right now. I don't think people realize how good the Falcons are outside of Desmond Ridder. The roster just stacked. Like they added so many pieces this offseason. Their offensive line's solid. They have a great running game. They have good playmakers with Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Their pass rush is good for the first time in a long time. And they added Jesse Bates to the secondary to add to AJ Terrell. Like they have really good players all over the place. And I think the Packers are a little overrated based on what happened last week. So I think the Falcons, you could make the case that they should be -3. So I like them quite a bit. Next game is, by the way, I did another player prop here. It was Desmond Ridder over 9.5 rushing yards at -113. I actually didn't specify this is rushing yards, but 9.5 is a low total. Desmond Ridder is, he can run around, and I think in a big game, I think he might do that. All right, Colts at Texans. So there's some injury concern here with the Texans. I liked them a lot earlier in the week, not so much now. I still like them a little bit though. But the two question marks are CJ Stroud with the shoulder injury. He was added to the injury report on Friday, and then Laremy Tunsil, their left tackle, he might be out. And it sounds like the Texans are preparing for him to be out. Now he still may play, but they just have this contingency plan ready for him to be out. If he's out, the Texans are going to be down 4 offensive linemen, which is a huge deal. Now some of their backups have played well, or at least in the opener. So like it's not as bad as it sounds, but you still want Laremy Tunsil on the field. I think Houston's considerably worse without him. And then with Stroud, like you just never know what you're going to get with an injured quarterback. Like look at Aaron Rodgers last year. No, obviously a broken thumb is much different than a shoulder injury that CJ Stroud has, but we don't really know how significant it is. I still think the Colts are not good at all, and I think the Texans defense should be able to dominate this regardless. So even if Tunsil's out, I still may bet the Texans like 2 units or so, but this is not going to be the big play that I thought we would be getting earlier in the week, which is kind of a shame. All right, so we have a question here. The Hawk, did you write in your fantasy team? Yeah, I drafted TJ Hawkinson. I did not expect him to be available in I think it was 7th round. I was so shocked, and yeah, he did pretty well. I was actually going against the guy who had Justin Jefferson, and Hawkinson outscored Jefferson, which is kind of insane. So they're saying, yeah, we got 3-2 in college, it seems. As soon as the Wyoming Texas game is over, it looks like 3-2, which is like, pretty solid. I'll take 3-2. David says Falcons or Packers, dude. Falcons for sure. All right, let's move on to Seattle at Detroit. So there's some offensive line injuries here. Seattle's gonna be without their top 2 tackles, which is going to be problematic against the Lions with Aiden Hutchinson. Now the Lions are going to be without Taylor Decker, and that's I think that would usually be a big deal, but Seattle can't get after the quarterback at all. Like, they had no pressures last week. So I think that the Lions are still okay. Now, the Seattle's getting some sharp money here. The line dropped from 5.5 to 4.5. So that's a slight concern, but I still like Detroit a bit. I don't love them, but I think I like them pretty for like a couple units or so. Bears and Buccaneers, we got some news a couple hours ago that the Bears guard Nate Davis is going to miss this game with a death in the family, which it's horrible to hear. That just sucks. Hopefully, prayers go out to him and his family. But like, it's a rough spot for the Bears because they need the interior blocking against Vita Vea. So not having Nate Davis on the field is just going to be pretty rough. But I still like the Bears, though. I think the Bears are, I think they're the better team. Now, it's not saying much because the Buccaneers are terrible. Like, both these teams suck. But I think people made such a big deal out of the Buccaneers beating the Vikings in week 1. And like, that's not like a great feat at all. And like we saw on Thursday that the Vikings really couldn't contend with the Eagles. They were down 27-7. They were down 34-21. Now they ended up pushing with a backdoor score at the end. But I think we saw that like beating Minnesota, and Minnesota is not what it was like cracked up to be. Like, Tampa is not a good team by any means, and they're going to be without Kalijah Kancey. They're going to be without Carlton Davis. So they have injuries too, or they're going to be missing players too. So I don't think the Buccaneers deserve to be favorites here. Like, they have a terrible home field advantage, so don't give them any points for being at home. The Bears were -1 on the advanced spread, and this moved 3.5 points. Now this was 3. The Sharps put it down to 2.5. So it sucks we're not getting 3. Now maybe we get 3 because Nate Davis is going to be out. I kind of doubt it, but if that happens, I'll like the Bears more. But right now, yeah, I still like the Bears a good deal. Next game is Raiders at the Bills. So this line is it's been like 7.5, 8, like 8.5. I saw a 9 out there, I think, on DraftKings. That's pretty much for like hedge or like teaser protection. The Sharps are on the Bills. And I think for good reason. Like, the Bills were just embarrassed. I mean, they didn't lose in a blowout or anything, but like losing to Zach Wilson is kind of embarrassing. So I think they're going to try to rebound. I like betting good quarterbacks coming off losses. And the Raiders are not a good team. Like, they can get to the quarterback, but they can't stop the pass. They can't stop the run. They can't block. They won last week, but if Will Lutz hit his kicks for the Broncos, they would have lost that game. And I think Denver and the Raiders were just like two almost like bottom 10 teams playing each other. So the fact that the Raiders won doesn't really mean much. This is an early game on the East Coast for them, so like that's an issue too. So I like the Bills, and I made a player prop bet here. Josh Allen over 34.5 rushing yards. So I think like off a loss, I think he's going to run more just because he wants to avoid 0-2. So I think betting the rushing over makes a lot of sense. Chiefs at the Jaguars. There's been sharp action on the Chiefs, moving this line from 2.5 to 3.5. Now, like at 2.5 and 3, I had like slight interest in the Chiefs. 3.5, I have no interest. 3.5 is the worst line to bet. Like like the margin of 3 lands like 17.5% of the time on a line that's 3.5. So I could easily see this being like 27-24 Chiefs or something like that. So I definitely wouldn't bet it. But I still would take the Chiefs. Like I don't really trust the Jaguars to contend with the Chiefs, like coming off a loss, like especially with extra time to prepare. I think that's kind of a recipe for disaster. And also the Jaguars have some injuries up front. The Chiefs are getting Travis Kelce and Chris Jones back. So I like the Chiefs. And I also bet a bet a prop here with Sky Moore under 2.5 receptions. Sky Moore kind of sucks. I feel like embarrassed that I put him on the sleepers list. He just like sucks at football. I don't. It's like nothing else you can really say about that. And with Travis Kelce back, like they have no reason to throw to him. I actually kind of like Kadarius Toney to rebound. He has such an embarrassing performance of those 3 drops. I think that like the Chiefs will try to like force the ball to him, and like he's gonna have a good game. So you're gonna have like Travis Kelce catching passes. You're gonna have Kadarius Toney catching passes. So like where's Sky Moore gonna fit in? So I like the under 2.5 there. The last early game is the Ravens at the Bengals. So there's sharp money coming on the Bengals, probably because the Ravens are going to be without 2 starting offensive linemen, Ronnie Stanley and Tyler Linderbaum. They're going to be without 2 starting defensive backs. Their top cornerback, Marlon Humphrey, and Marcus Williams is really talented safety. So you have to kind of like wonder like how the Ravens are going to contend with the Bengals, because they, first of all, like they have issues with them to begin with. And second, like they're going to be missing multiple players at multiple spots, which is always going to be like problematic for teams. The only thing here that's bothering me is like we don't know if Joe Burrow is 100%. He did not look healthy at all last week, and I know like the weather in Cleveland was pretty bad, but Joe Burrow was just not completely healthy, and maybe he will be after another week off. He was full in practice all week, but you can't really tell anything by practice. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was full all last year, and he was playing with a broken thumb, so it's like you can't really trust this anymore. Or maybe you can never trust in the first place. But I need to see Joe Burrow healthy to bet on him heavily. I may bet the Bengals for a small amount, but overall just no interest at the moment. All right, so Cinder says for the Eagles line next week, it says -6.5 of Buccaneers. I feel like that's a good deal right now. Yeah, if the Buccaneers lose to the Bears, that's going to be over 7. So if you think that's going to happen, I would bet it right now. I mean, you could have gotten some good deals last week in week 2. Like the lines were -3 against the Seahawks last week, and now they're -5.5, or at least 4.5 now. So it's kind of crazy. The Bull says, I think the Chief game's a trap game. Really? Because I mean, these 2 teams were in the divisional round of the playoffs. It's not like the Jaguars are a bad team. Like I don't see why the Chiefs would overlook them. I guess they beat them in the playoffs, and they swept them last year. But you know, this is still a playoff team they're playing, and they're coming off a loss. Like if the Chiefs had won on Thursday night against Detroit, then I could see maybe it being a trap game, and like they overlook Jacksonville. But I think they're going to try to avoid 0-2 at all costs. All right, let's get to the late games. We have 4 late afternoon games. We have the Giants, the Cardinals. So this line has dropped to 4.5 and even 4 in some places. The sharps are on the Cardinals, which is not a surprise. Like the Giants stink. Like they should not be favored by more than 3 on the road against anyone. Like even Arizona, they're just like a bad team. And like Andrew Thomas may miss this game, which is like kind of crazy because he's the only like person holding that offensive line like somewhat together. It's still bad, but at least like he's there on the left side. Like if he's out, the Giants won't be able to block at all. It'll be like pretty sad. And this defense is terrible. They're going to be without Azeez Ojulari, their top edge rusher. Kayvon Thibodeau did not take a leap last week. Like I thought that he and Evan Neal would step up as former top 10 picks. They just didn't. Like they were very disappointing against Dallas. Now maybe they rebound here in an easier matchup, but like Arizona's like at least functional. Like they showed a better pass rush than expected. Their offensive line's not bad. It's okay. They have some weapons like Marquise Brown, James Conner. Josh Dobbs is not completely inept. He's a smart guy and he knows the system. So this Arizona team is not as bad as we thought. They're still really bad. Don't get me wrong, but like they're not like clearly the worst team in the NFL. Like they might be like 30th in power rankings when it's all said and done. But I think they can at least fight the Giants and like maybe steal a win here, especially with the Giants having to play on Thursday against the 49ers coming up. All right, so next game is 49ers at Rams. There's sharp action coming on the Rams, dropping this line to 7.5. I even saw some 7s out there. Like this was 8. Now maybe this is just the sharps hedging because the advanced spread was -5, so they could have grabbed the 5, and now they try to hedge at 8 to like try to lay on the 6 and 7, which is like pretty smart. So that might be a reason why. Otherwise, I can't really think of a reason why the sharps would be on the Rams outside of the fact that maybe they think the 49ers overlook the Rams because they have the Giants coming up on Thursday night. But I don't know. It's still a divisional game. And I think the 49ers match up so well against the Rams. Like they always beat them. Just look at their history here. The 49ers have won 26 out of the last 36 meetings. Their pass rush is just way too good for the Rams offensive line. The Rams can't really block that well. It wasn't an issue last week against Seattle because Seattle has no pass rush, but like against Nick Bosa and everyone else, like that's going to be such a problem. All right. Jets and Cowboys. There's no sharp action here that I've seen at all. Zach Martin popped up on the injury report. He was limited Thursday and Friday. He's probably going to play, but maybe he's not 100%. I would like the Jets if they weren't coming off such an emotional win, because I like betting good teams, their backup quarterbacks, and this line is so high. Like the Jets defense is really good, and they could limit like the Cowboys to like 16 points even. Or Cowboys offense to 16 points. The problem is like the Jets may score like 3. Like it could be like 16-3 or something like that. So the Cowboys can still cover. And like, again, if the Jets weren't coming off an emotional win, I think they would fight really hard here. But the fact that like they had that crazy win on a short week, they just might be like totally gassed, like just out of energy. And like they could get blown out even. Or, if they show resiliency, and keep this to 16-13, like I could see that happening too. So it's going to be a fun game to watch. I don't know how to bet this one. The last late afternoon games, Redskins at Broncos. So I have nothing to report. Like I said earlier in the week that there's a lot of sharp money on Denver, and I was trying to figure out why, and I just don't know. I really have no idea. I was talking to Eitan Shander from the Odd Chopper channel that we used to do a show together last year. And he mentioned that Sam Howell might be playing with an injury, but he wasn't really sure. I think he said like he didn't know where he heard that from, but he may have heard it from somewhere. But if so, like that could be the reason why the Sharps are beating the Broncos. I wasn't able to find anything about that. If you guys know anything, like please let me know. Otherwise, like Jerry Jeudy's coming back, but like Chase Young's also coming back for the Redskins. So I really don't understand this sharp money. I really don't get it. The Bull says, what is the best anytime touchdown of the week? I'll look at that at the end of the show. I'll look at that through the Odd Shopper channel, and I'll let you know. All right. So Sunday night we have Dolphins at the Patriots. So I backed off this. I was planning on betting this game with the Dolphins, but man, I just think that the Patriots, like they're so well coached, and I just think that like there's so much of a reaction with what the Dolphins did in week 1. Like they're bound to regress to the mean. Like I think they're a really good team, but like they're not like as good as we saw. Like they look like the best team in the AFC just based on what they did against the Chargers, who like the Chargers have a good defense. Like I've heard on shows this week, everyone's like, oh, Chargers have a bad defense. They were 5th in defensive EPA last year, and that was with Joey Bosa playing 2 games. So it's like that's kind of crazy what Miami did last week. Like against a team with good defense talent. But, I think that like Bill Belichick may have something up his sleeve. The fact that Tua's 4-0 against him, Jacob pointed this out to me on Friday when I talked to him. He said that like that may work against Tua because Belichick may have made like adjustments to his game plan and whatnot. But like if you're thinking about betting the Patriots, just like look at this right here. You have Riley Reeve out. You have Michael Onwenu, who's limited all week, who's questionable. You have Cole Strain's questionable. Trent Brown's out. City So is a backup. He's out. So the Patriots have so many injuries on the offensive line. I just like at what point is it like too much? Like I don't know if they can contend with stuff like that. Now, like if Onwenu and Strange play, that'll be a lot better. But like, what if they're out? It's going to be rough. And I think if they're both out, you may see the Sharps coming on the Dolphins. Right now, the Sharps are on the Patriots. Monday night we have 2 games. We have Saints and Panthers. Nothing on the injury report of note. DJ Chark may play, but that's not like definite. The Saints have no injuries. But the Saints are favored by 3 in Carolina. Like it seems like every single year the Saints play at the Panthers in September, and they're always favored on the road, and they always get killed in Carolina. Like it's always a blowout. It's like this is like Groundhog Day. Like it's so repetitive. We've seen it so many times, and the Saints keep being favorites. and they keep getting public money and they keep losing. Like at some point, I don't know. I feel like people are going to learn and like not bet the Saints on the road. Derek Carr has like home road, like big dichotomy splits. So I like Carolina a lot. And we got some news here in the Monday night game, the second Monday night game, I should say, the Browns at the Steelers. Amari Cooper got downgraded to limited from full to limited on Saturday, and it sounds like he's questionable. He may not play this game. So you already have like Deshaun Watson being favored on the road against the Steelers, which seems so bizarre. Like a week ago, the Steelers were -1 on the event spread, and now they're +2.5. Like that, this is the same line as the 49ers. It makes no sense at all. I know the Steelers got blown out, but I think they just ran into a 49ers buzzsaw. Like the Steelers are a good team. They went 9-8 last year. They were 8-2 with TJ Watt. I think that everything went wrong for them last week in a tough matchup. And so I think they're going to bounce back. Mike Tomlin has lost by 20 plus points 14 times in his career. He's 12-2 straight up and against the spread after that. This team just bounces back from humiliating losses. I like betting good teams coming off embarrassing losses anyway. I definitely like the Steelers a lot. And that was before the Amari Cooper news. So like that really helps that out as well. I said I was going to look at like anytime touchdowns. So Odd Chopper, which is I highly recommend. They have you could find like the best bets. You can sort by EV. I don't know how to search for anytime touchdowns. I don't know. I don't think that works. But you could probably like find that in here. Let's see. Game props, I suppose. Or maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to like look through it. If I see something good, I'll like bet it on the site. And I'll mention it on Twitter. I just don't know if they have anything here for anytime touchdowns. I know that they had some like good props for they had some good props for home runs in baseball, and I actually had like good success using this site for that. I'm just not seeing anything for like anytime touchdowns at all. But like I said, if I find something, I will let you know. It's kind of weird. I thought there would be something, but apparently not. So anyway, that is it for my Saturday notes for week 2 picks. I hope everyone has a great week betting. And I will be posting my final thoughts on the site Sunday morning starting at 11:30 as usual when the injury reports come out, or the inactives, I should say. But yeah, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that would mean a lot. Word of mouth is like the best way to spread it. So if you like the content, like please do that. So I will talk. We have a question. So hold on. Cinder says I have to decide between starting Judy, London, Zay Flowers, and Kendrick Bourne. I think I would go with it's a tough one. Not Zay Flowers, just because the offensive line injuries could hurt that. And the Falcons could be up, so London may not do much. I think I would go Jerry Jeudy. Sounds like he's healthy, and the Washington secondary is like never anything to write home about. So it's a good matchup. So I'd go Jeudy, but it is super close. I can see why you're having an issue with that. So good luck with everyone. Good luck everyone with your week 2 bets, and I will talk to you later.